Hey everybody, this is Al with El Rey Collection, opening today a box from PSA. It was pretty cool how I got it right on the PSA thing. This is, if you were only going to watch one video this year of my like opening PSA stuff, mail day, this may be it. You know, I mean, there's a couple of orders, some crosses from SGC, yeah, a little bit of mail. Not sure if we'll get that far today, but a couple, I want to say roughly 50 cards coming back that passed the PSA pedigree threshold, which is actually kind of difficult, especially for soccer, because they're usually cards that are kind of well-known, exclusive. I mean, by what I mean by exclusive is low pop, high value, and just not a ton of soccer cards hit that threshold. So, also, those types of cards need to be submitted at a higher tier. So let's take a look. This particular one, I can already see this was a cross from SGC that I asked for the pedigree on. And you can notice there's a thick slab in here, so not everything crossed. I think this was a 10-card order, but we'll pull out the paperwork as we always do. Take a look at that. And then there's a bigger one here, which is I think like 30 cards. So it won't take super long, this video, but it should be pretty epic. Always get your fingers crossed, never know what's going to happen. I also have a stack of SGC cracks that I have sent to PSA, so I'm going to try to find those as well, so we can do a little bit of what happened on the particular cross. Let's start, as we always do, with just the high-level stats on this. This is supposed to be relatively high service level. It took much longer than expected. Yep, it was 10 items at the, what do you call it? The regular, which I think is the $79.99 service per card. So not an insignificant value. It's $1,500 per card is the standard at that level, and in total there are 10 cards, and most of them had been graded at the time. A couple had not. And without further ado, let's get to it. So there's some minimum, the minimum grades. I guess I'll go through that one by one. So let's go. Actually, let me put the comments up so I can see this as we're going through. If I get to un gran abrazo. Igual a ti, amigo. So thanks for joining from Argentina. I think there are some Argentine cards. There's some Uruguayan, a little bit of everything as usual. But let's go one by one. I'm just going to pick these out. They're all super special. Oh, God. This is beautiful. Now, my wife would say, why don't you look at me with those eyes? You know, like you looked at that card. So the first card is an absolutely gorgeous Pedernera, Adolfo Pedernera here, the Argos set, which might be one of my favorite sets of all time. This came back at PSA 4. Look at that. Super clean back. Amazing card. And let me see, what was this before? Maybe I have this. What's the order number here? Order number 67. Sorry, guys. Sub. Oh, it's a sub number. That's why. Sub 1728. I thought I had this. Oh, it's right here on the paperwork. Okay, so I can at least do this. So this before was a Argos SGC 5. This was an SGC 5. I said the minimum grade I would take would be a 3.5 to get it in a PSA holder. I thought it was closer to a 5, and they gave it a 4. So a lot of times when you put the minimum grades, they give you the minimum grade if it crosses. So this one got a little bit better than that. Hey, Ed. Hope all's well in New York. Good to see you. So Pedernera, awesome card. Los Argos, one of my favorite sets from Argentina. Just amazing. The next card here was, and hopefully we'll get a little bit faster. Here's a Nasazi crack. Cigarillos crack from Uruguay. That's a PSA 1. Look at the back here. This was pretty clean back as far as these go. These tend, because they're photographic, tend to creep up a bit, or sometimes you get some cracks or creases, and you can probably see those lightly in the surface. This crack was a previously. This should not be that hard because there's not that many of them. This was an SGC 1.5. I said asked for a minimum of a PSA 1, and it got a PSA 1. So that so you got a Pedernera and a Nasazi crossing. One at the minimum grade, one slightly higher than the minimum grade. Okay, here's we've got this next Arsenio Enrico, probably the leading scorer in the Argentine Professional League. And this is one of those really cool, different shaped oval bicicleta. And this is, by the way, all of these cards were awarded the Jurgela Collection Pedigree. And this is a PSA 5 from the looks of it. I don't know why we're suddenly getting some glare. A lot of glare. See if I can find a different angle here. Not really. Sorry about that. There, I guess that's as good as it is. PSA 5, and the Enrico was a bicicleta. It was an SGC 5, and it got my minimum grade was a 3.5, and they gave it a 5. So that's great news. From an SGC 5 to a PSA 5 is usually a good move in general. The next one, this is pretty cool. This is a Kostik's rookie. Very hard from the Bolliger Biscuit collection, and this comes in at 2.5. These usually have terrible back damage. This one's pretty good. This one was a SGC 3, and my minimum grade was a 2, and it comes back at 2.5. It was never stuck, so that's really good on the back, and I've got to assume this is the highest grade. So a Kostik's rookie, Barcelona great, Hungarian great. We think that even though this is labeled, they still label these as 50 to 53, I think. I think generally most people tend to resonate around 42. Set got a lot of extra notoriety with the Copa recently selling for close to 10,000. Barcelona, Hungarian great, awesome, love that. The next one on the list, there's actually two of these. They were both, one was an SGC 4 and one was an SGC 2.5. So let's start. This was the SGC 2.5. The minimum grade I had on this one was a 1.5. Beautiful colors. Here's an Nasazi from the Andes set out of Uruguay. Really, really cool, fun set. Currently, there's an Andrade on Golden from the same set. Really nice. Little smudges on the back. I thought this would probably get a 2, but they gave it a 1.5, and SGC it was a 2.5. A little bummed about that. Kind of thought it would sneak in a 2. And then this one, the duplicate of this was an SGC 4. They give this a 3.5, which I think is the highest grade of this one. And that's the Nasazi, Los Andes. Love these. They've got, the fun back. They come in a album that has, stars, like movie stars and whatnot. And then there's 10 10, 8 football players. The next one, modern card, but a fun one nonetheless, is the Pele from Topps Archives Baseball. So this was a weird chase card, one in like 50,000 packs, very SSP, built off of the 1975 cards for those of you who follow baseball in the US. Very, very cool. And they even label it 1975 Pele. It was very out of place in the set. Very, very bizarre chase in a baseball set, and they put it in this Brazilian, in the Brazilian colors here, which I just found this card to be super amazing. Ironically, they put him in a Cosmos jersey here. So there's lots of bizarre things about this card, but beautiful on-card autograph and early on-card autograph from a super difficult chase set. This was a SGC 8, I think, and I said I only wanted an 8 back. Let me see. Yep, 2023 SGC 8, and it came back a PSA 8 as well. So that's good. Super cool Pele card. You don't see a ton of modern stuff in my collection, but that one just was amazing. And then we have this Carlos Pusea, another great Argos card. And this came back at PSA 4. I can't tell you how hard these grades are. This was a SGC 5. The minimum I would take would be a 3.5, and it came back a 4. So generally pretty happy. But these were super clean cards. Really clean cards. Really nice. Again, probably my favorite. If I was going to put together one set or try to from Argentina in the 40s, it would probably be the Argos set. Then we have this. What's this? This is empty. Well, this is concerning. Oh, okay. Oh, does that mean they didn't grade it? Oh, okay. Whew. I got a little frightened here. Okay, so we've got the Arico Algaga collection. They were going to do it, and then it didn't hit the min grade. So do not holder. This was an SGC 5.5 of the Gran Capitan. And what did I say my minimum was? I said I wanted a 4, and they wouldn't give it a 4. So I get this one back, and I still pay the fee, which kind of sucks, but that's part of the, when do I use, I get sometimes this question about when do I decide to crack things out versus and submit raw from an SGC holder, or just to, or just submit like this, pay the fee knowing that I may not get the minimum grade. And it comes down to cards generally that I think are very, very valuable in their current holders. And I don't want to risk jeopardizing that. And I'm willing to take some downside, but not the ultimate downside. The ultimate downside is typically when let's say this was let's say, for instance, which I don't think there's anything wrong with this card, just like the other ones. Let's say this card, had some paper loss on the back. It doesn't. You can see it's not removed, right? Oh, sorry about the glare here. So it's perfect. But let's say if it had paper loss, this card would likely, be a 2. Or even worse, sometimes PSA will give things authentic, especially on Pogs that have nicks on the side because they say that it's no longer the standard size because it's been nicked. You see that a lot. Well, not a lot, but sometimes on the disc from Argentina. So if this one would have been a, I would not have wanted to crack this out and get this back in a 2 when SGC says it's a 5.5, which, by the way, I agree with that assessment, the 5.5, but I was willing to take a 4 from PSA just to get in their PSA holder. I'm trying to get most of my run of stars that I kind of try to collect most of their cards in in PSA holders because ultimately I'd like to have them on the registry. Just makes it easier. So anyway, that's how I decide if it's kind of like, hey, I just want this in a PSA holder no matter what. Typically low grades or lazy A's I get from SGC, then I just crack them out and just send them in. And you'll see some of those in the next ones. So the next one, so here are, this is fun. So this is why I have, they sent me back all of the tags. So you can see the PSA was a 5. I guess I'll have to read this backwards. The Nasasi was a 4. Oh, there's one more card in here. Oh boy, it's a biggie. Man, if you just stayed on, you're in for an event right here. This is a pretty one. I'm not gonna lie. This one, oh yes, look at, and the champ made it just in time. The master at work. Thank you, champ. Appreciate that. And now feast your eyes on this. Oh, look at that, baby. It's an Andrade Andes card. Probably one of the most visual, if not the most visual appealing Andes card. It's in a good 2.5. Nice back. This was a I have the thing right here. Let's see. This was an SGC 3. And PSA gave it a 2.5, which I think is the highest grade. There's one at Golden right now. I think the current bid is like 9K or something right now. It's still a couple weeks to go. So this is an epic pre-war card. Amazing card from the Los Andes set. So there you go. So that was, well, let me just put this here with this. And then here was the, so this was the Andrade. That was a 3. Sorry about that. And then I think this was the Nasasi at a 4. That one came back a 3.5. I think we went through most of these. The other Nasasi was a 2.5. Came back a 1.5. The Pedernera was a 5. The Argos came back a 4. The crack photographic one from Nasasi came back a 1. It was a 1.5. The Kosix was a 3. Came back a 2.5 from PSA. And then the Arico was a 5. The Bicicleta came back a 5. And then the Pele was an 8 and came back an 8. So super kind of excited to get that. It's a bit of a bummer when one doesn't cross, but it's the nature of the beast. Okay, so super fun on that first set. Now there's other ones that I cracked out and sent in, just kind of raw, where I wasn't kind of worried about the grade. I'd say all in all, 9 of 10 crossing, about half above the low that I was willing to take. That's a solid day at the office as far as those go. So if you guys have any questions, put them in the comments here, and I will get to them hopefully as I'm opening this. Let's see if there's anything to talk about from a hobby perspective. Let's see here. Okay, no comments right off the bat. Sorry for the late notice. Just wasn't sure. Been super swamped at work the last. Gosh, I feel like this whole year, but particularly the last couple weeks. So finally able to open some packages that I have around, and these are all big boys. At least from a soccer collecting perspective, in my view, and sometimes it takes a while for PSA to recognize things. I asked for a long time to get some of my soccer cards with the pedigree because I have probably 400 or so baseball cards with the pedigree. So, and I'm kind of, I don't want to say more, but yeah, I guess probably I certainly have way more content on the soccer side of things than I do the baseball side. So it's nice that they're starting to recognize some of the important cards that have really low pops that are really difficult out there in getting kind of the pedigree out there. Which, as some of you may recall, my wife kind of insisted on early on when I was switching some stuff to PSA as part of my Negro League project, and she and I'm actually thankful that she did that now, because it is kind of cool to have those cards. Okay, so here we go. The next piece of paper here. I always like to oh, I didn't tell you guys the dates on the last one, which these are usually like 10 or 15 business days. This one took a while. It arrived April 18th. So it took 2 months, even at that high level of submission at $70 a card for those 10 items. So it took full 2 months to get here. This one took a little less. It arrived about a week and a half ago, but also took 2 months. And this one was the same thing, the standard thing that has the oh no, I guess it was a little less. This one was the $50 level at $1,000 a card. So and about half of the cards had been graded before, and it also arrived on April 15th. So let's take a look at what's in here. These should go faster, and then I'll try to remember. Actually, what's the number on this one? 2178. 2178. Okay, cool. So I'm trying to get better at organizing my flips. So these are all the ones that I cracked out of SGC, and the other ones were just raw. So I'll try to remember which ones are in here so that we can, go over this. All right. So without further ado, I always hate when you see these. That means something didn't cross. You're paying $60. Didn't get graded. What happened? We'll soon find out if you stay tuned. And by the way, hey, if you're watching this, can you hit the like button? It helps the algorithm. It would also be awesome if you could subscribe if you're not subscribed. Okay, so let's start to look at some of these. So here is an Angel Labruna at a SGC4, pretty clean copy. These are frequently have back damage from being removed. This is a pseudo rookie. There's a 1941 issue as well, but certainly in the rookie constellation. So nice to have Labruna there, part of La Máquina. And then you've got, this is an authentic, probably just because it's a little it's thin on the back. So this is Omar Savori, and this is I think this was SGC as well. Okay, so this was an SGC 1, and it came back a PSA authentic. So I'll have to put this sticker with it, and you decide what you want. I think it's authentic because you can see it's very thin. Now sometimes these thin ones get numerical grades. I had one over here I was looking at earlier, like this Schiaffino rookie. This got a 1, and it's also similarly thin. If you can see kind of how the light goes through there. Again, I think that they're pretty inconsistent on how they treat the thin ones, and I got the short end of the stick on the Savory rookie there. And then here's a really rare Leonidas, not super pretty. You can see it right there, not super pretty, but it gets a 2 from the Brazilian set, Oliveira y Inocente. And this is the Bala Centro Avante. Nice back. Really cool. Very hard to find this Leonidas, as in fact most of the Leonidas are. Here's another fun one. This is from the very rare set. You may recall my Di Stefano. There's some massive color loss here. It's kind of off center, but any of these rompecesos are really hard. And this is the Jose Manuel Moreno card. The back is monched too, but it's a 2 miscut. It could have been worse with the color loss and whatnot. But it's nice to have a Jam Moreno there. Similarly, we've got an Angel Labruna from the same Rompeceso set. It also gets a 2 miscut, but is in much better shape than the other one. It also has a little bit of a back tape, like tape or something, residue. So not the best condition, but these are all super, super hard. And to see Rompecesos from the Labruna in the Rompecesos is amazing. Here's another incredibly fun card that I can nearly guarantee that nobody has seen out there. These are this is from a Popo album from J Starosta, and this is the Listau. Really cool. They look like a card, blank backs, very thin. You can see really, really lightly the name here on from ink, probably from album removal, the Listau, which was on the album. Really, really nice piece here. I love the imagery, unique, incredible clarity. And as far as I know, the only ones I've ever seen graded of this. There's another one back. And here's a freed. Some more common freed. Well, common is a relative term. This is the 1930 Balas. So this is a really, maybe not the most attractive one, but still a nice early freed out of Brazil. And I just happen to have this because my son had asked me about this today. So I thought I had this handy. Here it is. So this matches well with this card. But this one's just so much more beautiful, right? I'll take this out and look. It's just one of my favorite pre-war cards, right? So this is the rookie constellation, which isn't really his rookie. He played well earlier, but the first cards together with the Bala Sportsman. Still, I would take this card all day long, but just this one just has to hold a special place in my collection and in my heart, so to speak. What else? So there was the Balas. That was ungraded. So we don't have now. I'm always nerve-wracking. It's always nerve-wracking to open these. Let's go to the other two on this before we do that. So here is another similar to the other Popo album, the J Starosta on Angel Labruna. Again, really nice clarity on those. And just like the Listau, you can very faintly see some pink letters, which were when it was removed. So the max it can get is a 2. Can't notice any paper loss, but still very, very nice. So glad to have that Labruna. And then last but not least, in this part of the box is a Dominguez da Guia. And this is, it looks really, it looks rough in person, but you can clearly see his face. Maybe that's the best angle. And these are tin, so there's some rusting all around. Well, but it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. Very hard to find the metal 1935 Chocolate Laponias. You can find more the Angel Labruna, like one that I showed earlier. This one from the early 40s. Cool design. But this is a metal one from 1935. And this particular one has Dominguez da Guia, the Brazilian defender, great player. So happy to get this one. Slad, very, very fun little tin card. Okay, let's see what the bad news is in here. Oh, I always hate this, but it's bound to happen. Sometimes just min size, especially you're dealing with all these international ones. Sometimes they don't even know who the issuer is. So let's see. Let's see how this goes. Oh, bummer. Oh, no. 2 of them. Bummer. So this one, which is a Munoz, got miscut. So why don't you put a miscut qualifier on it? Super frustrating. So this gets a miscut from the same Popo album. Yeah, it's diagonally cut. I get it, but just put a miscut on it, right? Or put authentic altered. even though it's not really authentic. I mean, altered. Just shit hits the fan on production every now and then. And this one really bums me out, mostly because I'm going for the what do you call it? Run of Jose Manuel Moreno cards. And this is a very, very rare issue, the Piranha issue. And let's see what they said on this. Look at the back. It has some staining on it, like some glue staining, but they said altered. And it's probably because of this glue, which honestly I think is a bit bullshit. It should just be a 1. So I'll have to see what I do about that. But it's a bummer. 2 of the, gosh, how many? 10 they kicked out, and both from Argentina. That's not fun, especially on when you're paying $50 a card, $60 a card or something. Okay, let's actually let me stop here for a second because I haven't been checking the comments and see if there's anything there. Oh yeah. Hey, yeah, I will be there, David, at SoCo, as will the champ. I'm sure Ed will make the trip. Lots of people will be out there. Of course, Seb will have a table. The champ will have a table. Myself, Scott, and as well, we'll also have Brother Bill will be out there. So it's that's going to be fun. Really, really fun to be out there and talking soccer cards with everybody. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so we're almost done. We won't keep you here all night. So we got these. I'll just take out the whole thing, and we can break these down so they don't fall. And then I just wanted to flip through these and see which ones we could expect. Some fun ones in here from here that we haven't seen yet. Okay. All right. Fun. Okay. So the next one is a really rare Argentine issue. This is Cabecitas de Oro. Again, really like it. It's got a little bit of the lace vibe, but it's got a really cool back. Not that lace don't. Much, much, much more difficult and slightly smaller than the other one. So this is Hermanillo Mas Antonio, and this came in at a 1.5. Did I cross this one? I was just looking here, and I thought I crossed a couple of them. Okay, that was a 2.5, and so I cracked it, and I didn't have a minimum grade. I didn't send it in the other way, and it came back a 1.5 raw. So according to their eyes, without any historical view, which sometimes can pollute them, it came back a full grade lower, which kind of bites. Okay, next one, the Argos. This was already a lower graded Argos in the Bernabé Ferrara, and this was a 2 previously. You can see here, I'm not lying to you. This was a 2, and it came back a 1.5. Again, when you crack them out, you're not putting any minimum grades. You get what you get, and you don't get upset, right? Type of thing. The next one, since I saw these, okay, this is interesting. Okay, so I had 2 Planica Greelings from Germany. Both were 2.5 at SGC. Okay, so both of them are 2.5, and I get the first one a 1.5. So this is, again, helping the narrative that in general PSA is a harder grader than SGC. Granted, some of these were done a while ago and some of them were more recent, so sometimes there's also a timing grade thing going on. But this is a super short print of the Greenling. Took me a long time to get these 2 copies. They're both really nice. I'm shocked that this gets a 1.5. There's no paper loss on it. There's just some rubbing on the back of the ink. You can kind of see along the side. Still, 1.5 is a very, very harsh grade. To go from a 2.5 to a 1.5 isn't that big of a deal. But then again, every now and then you get a nice surprise. So this one, which was also 2.5, comes back from PSA at a 4. So this is very, very, uplifting, if you will, to get a 4 on this really, really hard SSP Planenka Greenling card. So I guess in aggregate, a 4.5 and a 2.5, a 4 and a 2.5 puts it at a 5.5 total, and it was a 5 in SGC total, 2.5s. So in aggregate, I guess we did slightly better. It's just a little weird, that variability, because I thought the PSA grades were pretty spot on. So it is what it is. So we got those. Let's see what else. It looks like there's a few of them in here that I cross. So here was again, I was trying to just run the Jose Manuel Moreno stuff. And so here was a 1, and this was the 1953 Palooza, and it was a 1 previously. Sorry, my wrist doesn't go that way. So there's the Palooza at a 1, and it comes back a PSA 1 as well. The back is removed, so you knew it was going to be a 2 or less. You can kind of see some of the white discolorization from the removal. Still a really pretty front and a great card to have. The Paloozas aren't incredibly common. All right. Is that most of the ones we crossed? The Ferrara, the Massantonio, the Planicas, the Savori. There's one more at the end, but we'll show that when we get all the other ones I just graded for the first time. So this one was a mix of just grading cards for the first time and cracking out of SGC holders. The next one, a really, really beautiful Angel Labruna right here. I love these Shield Piff Paff cards. Just gorgeous. And here is a PSA 3. Very, very, very cool. So here's Ed. Yeah, this is a fun group. I really believe it'll be hard to top this group this year for me. This is just really, each one of these cards is so special in its own way, even if the players aren't necessarily household names, certainly in American collecting. Here's another Labruna. I'm going to put this in his constellation of rookie cards. Again, a very, very, very hard set. The Piranha set from 1942. The Labruna, again, his rookie, call it 41 to 42. So this one you have probably never seen. And I love that they talk about the children P-base, what to collect these cards, which is awesome. So love that. Love this Labruna. It's from the same one that they kicked out, this Jam Moreno, which is that so irks me. But anyway, here's the Labruna from the set. Here's Ronaldo Martino. And he also, this is in the constellation of rookies for him as well, with these nice little PB. I think the writing comes in different colors, blue, yellow, I think. Here's another, all these kind of rookie, pre-rookie. Here's a Carlos Sosa. I consider this in his constellation as well. Just beautiful cards. And, as far as Argentine calls, I don't have a problem with all of the POG type cards that they have. Actually, I find them really cool and unique. But a lot of people prefer these. Now, these, if you ever find these, you'll almost always find them. They should have actually a fold in the middle. That's how they were distributed. So pretty much every authentic a Piranha card will have a fold at 50% of the paper down. So it'll go right through. It'll be a solid fold. You can maybe see a little bit of remnants of that. But all of them will be folded in half. Here's another one. This is the 46 version of the Springer and Company cards that were known as Campeonatos, the championship. This is a 2.5. Was never stuck. The 46s are harder to me than the 45s. The 45s are much more common. This is another Jose Manuel Moreno out there. Here's a really nice looking Dominguez de Guia Some of these come off center or foggy slash misprinted. This is from the great Productos Norland set, otherwise known as Gran Capitan. So you can see how nice this back is, not ever stuck, beautiful. And actually, I had higher hopes than a 3 for this, to be honest. I thought this had a shot at a 5. It's not off center or miscut like many of them are. So I actually kind of thought this one was going to get a 5. It didn't. Here's another absolutely beautiful. This is, oh, man, there's so many great Argentine sets now that I'm looking at this. This is absolutely gorgeous set. This is the Olympia. This triangle type sets. SGC does a great job on these custom cuts, or they used to. They don't do them anymore. And this was a 2, mostly just because the corners are a little rough. But this is the Lostal card, which is really kind of next level. I mean, these have to be some of my favorite cards. So super, super exciting. We have here the next one. I mean, these are just, I'm going over these things fast, but guys, these are just bangers. I mean, these are just great, great cards. Here's a Manuel Seone. I mean, that's why, in the past, I'd say I'd send in, if I was asking for a pedigree, I don't know, 20, 30 cards, and PSA would maybe approve 10. I don't know exactly the methodology that they use. They, probably look at value, historical comps, but this whole order just got approved because these are all just bangers, right? So here is a Seone, beautiful, beautiful ranchera set, super hard. These cigarette cards, I love their monochrome. They remind me of the 1923-24 Thomas Gutierrez set out of Cuba. One of the most valuable Negro League sets that include Negro Leaguers. This set has that same vibe for me. Very tough. I wish the cards didn't float that much, but here, that's better. At least it's on its center. Really tough card. I think I have a Sastre from that set. All right, here's a set that I mentioned earlier, the beautiful 5x1 set. Really thick cardboard, really, really hardy cards. And this is a Pedernera. Great photography. Almost all of these are off center. I'm a little surprised it didn't get the MC classification. Most of them do. This is slightly better than most. These are blank backs. So again, the 5x1s, beautiful cards, and include some really fun rookies, including Labruna has one, and doesn't maybe Jose Salomon? I don't know. Can't recall. Here's the Juan Carlos Munoz from the same set, another La Máquina member, and also the same guy that didn't get graded over here because of the miscut. Ugh. So here you go, another 5x1, really, really fun card. Again, the blank backs, but to get a 4 on these is pretty epic. What I don't love, because this one wasn't stuck, it gives the impression it could have been stuck with a 2. So that's why for me, I really like that 2.5 and above. This is a 4. You can see how it's miscut here. This is part of the other card that was on top, but they didn't give it a miscut. Maybe it's just lack of familiarity. Oh, speaking of that, so here's the Ronaldo Martino, another 5x1. And this is miscut. They did give this a miscut, so maybe they had just slightly different parameters. This grader did. Still really, really nice. They gave it a 1, probably because of the smudge on the back, but in general, really kind of cool card. Great player, not super followed. Then we've got this amazing, this is, I don't know why I love this card so much. This is the 1962 Bruguera Diez Mandamientos set. This is just so cool. He's off in Europe playing still at this point, but you can tell he's just a national hero. And I just love this Pog. There's also there's a Fangio in this set. There's I think Muhammad Ali. So this is really kind of early, very cool stuff here. You can see it was removed, so it's it's not a great back, but it's a blank back, and the front is so cool looking that you got to have it. Very, very rare Di Stefano. I think there's only 2 copies rated, down to the last 2 cards, and a couple of these are both epic for different reasons. So if you guys got any last minute comments or questions, make sure you post them now. So when I'm done with these 2 cards, I can look at this. A super, super tiny, right? Because let's look at this. So here's a kind of a standard Argentine disc. Look how small this is. So super tiny Jose Manuel Moreno. And this is a PSA 2. Very small, very, very hard set to get. A lot of times, I mean, what it looks like to me on this set is that it's like starts as a circular pog, and then they just cut down the middle. Very fun, small little card. Very, very rare. And from the 1949 Starosta set, really, really fun. Incredibly tough. And the last one, at least on this run of it, is an epic card. Really, really hard to find. This is the 26/28 Cigarillo Super from a very elusive, important player, Jose Piendebe, which starts his career in the early 1910s, maybe even late 1900s. Just an absolute superstar monster, and a very hard man to find a card of. There's a couple postcards, but to get a serious super, even at the end of his career, is a big deal. To get the set even graded, I think, is a big deal, and it's photographic. So this card is just such a beauty. Love this card. And previously, this card sat in a what I'll call a lazy A holder, I believe. Yep, here you go. So I cracked this one from, and they called it, back in the day, SGC just called it 1920s Uruguayan issue. And they gave it an A, probably because they don't know the size of the card and didn't have it cataloged. I sent them stuff back in the day, but to get this in a nice proper holder with a proper year range of 26 to 28 is just phenomenal. So yeah, wow, nice to have this back. Nice to have this in a PSA holder. Super excited about this, and frankly, all of this stuff, right? I mean, just all of these cards. Each one of these cards could be a highlight from a sub if I was subbing an individual, like a bulk sub. But these are just absolute gems. I'm happy to be the temporary custodian of these historical pieces. I will archive them, and they will sit as part of the El Rey collection, this nice group of historical gems, while I still am on the planet, and then after that they'll be dispersed. But anyway, not to be overly dramatic. So let's see what some of the questions are here. The champ. What are 2 to 3 card stickers that have caught your eye from 180? Gosh, I haven't delved that deeply into it yet. I think that there was, from what I recall, a 58 Americana Pele, not a very common rookie to see out there. I think the pop is probably 20. And it's just a beautiful sticker. It's the same image that's used on the album cover, but it's a sticker by Americana. I think that one is just a beautiful sticker, so that one always calls my attention. I think there's a PSA 6, if I'm not wrong, Maradona 78 crack, which is a really, really high grade. I haven't spent a lot of time looking at the scan yet, but if I think that's a 6, that's a pretty big card. Those were the two that I happen to remember on my first kind of brush buy. There's also a Jose. Well, I guess the third one would be a Jan Moreno Christmas Layes in a PSA 5, which I think is the highest grade. So that's another big one. But yeah, I think that I'll go through that more in detail here over the next week. And I'm sure next week, for those of you who are on the premium, we'll talk a little bit about that next week when Bill's back. And we'll also have a live event for the Discord on that Sunday to try to, everyone is feel free to join that as well, because that's kind of a fun event to do every few months. So those are the things that jumped out to me. Champ, what are you? What is there anything in particular you wanted me to talk about? Thoughts? I just haven't spent a time going page by page yet. Oh yeah, the Orsi. Yes, okay, I did see that. So there's multiple different plus ultra Orsis, and the plus ultra Orsi that they have in this auction is the close-up one, which is a great one. I happen to prefer the one he's a little set back. You can just appreciate more, I think, the uniform. But look at any plus ultra Orsi is a big card. So I would definitely, that one. I have a feeling that one's gonna run a bit. So that would be exciting. I had not seen that the Copa Bola J was back to 180. That's a bit of a disappointment because I think there's a lot of excitement about that result. So obviously somebody didn't pay. I would imagine it would go for a lot less. I mean, I think we generally thought that it was well, actually I thought that Nil said that somebody did pay, so maybe somebody wanted to recoup their money or something. Unsure, but that is a little odd that one's resubmitted. I hadn't noticed that, Champ. So yeah, let's kind of see what that has in store. But I would, pre that auction, I would have guessed that it would struggle, especially in that condition, to get, even 5K would have been a pretty big number, and it went for double that. So let's see. I hopefully Nils did get his money, and the person that takes the loss is the person that paid the 10 grand for that one. So anyway, I hadn't even noticed that. So again, I'll go back through that auction here in the coming days, and then we'll have our premium call on Thursday. We can talk more in detail about that, and then we will talk on Sunday as a community. And for those of you that may be watching and didn't know about the Discord, please join the Vintage Soccer Discord. The link should be below, although somebody said that it wasn't in some of my videos anymore, so maybe it got lost. So I'll definitely try to add that again if it's not in there. And if you can like this video, just hit that little thumbs up sign. That's will help a lot with the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed, appreciate a subscription. Hopefully you had a good ride through. A lot of crosses from SGC, some epic cards, and of course it can't be a submission without some disappointments. little bit of everything as usual. As we run through PSA submissions, not for the faint of heart. So I think you also saw some good news and bad news on crossing in slabs versus crossing raw, and what you kind of get in those. So as well as just crossing raw cards that have never been graded. So anyway, hope it was a fun ride. I know I had fun. Hope you did too. Again, like the video, and we will see you on the Discord and on this channel. And everyone have a pleasant evening. Take care, everybody. See ya. Bye-bye.